Like, oh, this is going to be Mario 3. I'm all excited. I open it up, and it's Predator.
My first Christmas video game experience was this behemoth right here. Merry Christmas.
Cheers.
What's going on, buddy?
Excited for the holidays?
Me too. I am excited for the holidays. I love the holidays. I love cookies and games. So welcome to our Christmas special.
Yes.
This is all about Christmas from our past and the games that we got when we were kids.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes. So Joe and I always write down, on our computer here, we were show notes.
It was a long time ago. You gotta drum up those memories.
But the truth is, a lot of this is gonna be led by Joe because Joe has, number one, a lot of memories, and number two, he got a lot of games for Christmas.
Apparently, not as much as some people, but
No.
I was the very typical you'd get one game for your birthday and one game for Christmas. Now, my parents did get divorced when I was 2, so the only real benefit was 2 Christmases.
More games, and more Christmases.
So
me too.
Yeah, you get one from each. Yeah. So I get 2 games for Christmas.
But see, I didn't get a ton of games for Christmas. I got most of my games outside of Christmas. Yeah. But I do have Christmas memories with games.
Okay, so well, we can definitely go through those.
Pumped to talk about it, but for certain, you should go first.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about what I'm 99% sure. I did actually go look up the release dates for all these games to make sure it made sense that I got them, and they all line up for the most part. So I'm going to say Christmas of 1990 was probably the best Christmas ever for me. Mm-hmm. So again, like I said, typically I'd get 1 game a year on my birthday, 1, maybe 2 for Christmas if each parent got me a game. So the routine for me for Christmas every year was I would wake up and do presents with my mom. And I remember that year I circled a couple of things in the Sears wish book, thought I might get one of the games. And I also wanted to quickly talk about how expensive games were back then.
Yes.
Everyone complains that Nintendo's charging in Canada $89 or I think it's $79.99 for Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Which they probably spent tens of millions of dollars developing, so they charged an extra $10 for it and they were vilified.
Ah, terrible.
So the 2 games I got for Christmas were, I've got them here. I got Double Dragon 2 and Ninja Gaiden 2. And I remember both of those games in the wish book being I think they were $94.99 or $89.99. I would say $89.99. That's what I've written down.
Adjusted to today's dollars, that's $5,000.
Oh, yeah, it's like a gazillion dollars. Thanks, Trudeau.
Yes. Yeah. Trudeau's the only reason prices have gone up. If we didn't have Trudeau, game prices would have.
And so that $89.99, and I do remember my mom complaining about Brian Mulrooney at the time putting in the GST. So
but 1990, you were 1 year into free trade in Canada, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, but yeah, so it was literally like 80. Yeah, they were $89.99 plus tax each. I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna try and find scans of the wish book and confirm. But I remember everything all because they were newer releases.
Okay.
And the cool thing was I'd never played either of them or rented either of them, but I was a huge fan of Double Dragon and the first Ninja Gaiden from renting them because they were kind of newer. So release dates here: Ninja Gaiden 2 May 1990, Double Dragon 2 January 1990. Now those are the North American release dates. In Canada you'd have to wait for them to show.
We got everything.
Longer,
so
right?
we don't even know how much longer because there was no information.
No, exactly. So I literally I saw them in a catalog.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh cool, they made part 2 to these 2 games.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask for them. So I got those, and then the other cool thing was my stepdad, his mom, so my step grandmother, bought me an NES Max, which my stepbrother had, and I really wanted one of those for the turbo function. I actually don't have one right now because it's in my opinion not the best controller, but I was really pumped to get one, especially I didn't think she was going to even buy me anything, and to get that from her was really cool when you're not expecting it, right? So I went from expecting 1 game to getting 2 really good new release games and a controller that I really wanted. And then later in the day, the routine was I do mom in the morning and then go to my dad's family's Christmas in the afternoon. And I remember really wanting Super Mario Brothers 3. I'm pretty sure my dad spent more than what that game is worth renting it for me. Like basically every weekend I was like, can we rent Mario 3 from the store so I can play it? So he probably just saw it as like he would save money by buying me the game.
Yeah.
But before that, so there were 2 games under the tree. The first one, and I was like, oh, this is going to be Mario 3. I'm all excited. I open it up, and it's Predator. And I rented Predator, and actually, like, it's one of my guilty pleasure games.
How old were you when you were getting Predator? How old were you?
I hadn't seen the movie yet, but my dad was like a huge Arnold fan, and we had rented the game, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. Although, no, Terminator 2 was after that, but I was allowed to watch that when it came out. But yeah,
I love that you're getting a Predator game and you're like an 8-year-old boy
so,
in like grade 3.
Yeah,
like,
so I get Predator, and I'm like, oh, thanks, and I'm trying to like keep it together and not act disappointed that I'm not getting Mario 3.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna guess that game. So release date for that one was sometime in 1988. So it probably was a bit cheaper because it wasn't a new release. It also depended like what chips they put in the game. So the newer games they had to put like higher end stuff in them, like to make the graphics better. So that's why they were more expensive too.
Heavier carts.
Yeah, like that's why you would see like an RPG would be like $100, and a normal game might be like 50 or 60. So then, or actually, I forgot to show Predator. There's boom, Arnold in all of his glory, and then I finally opened up Super Mario Brothers 3. And I recall at the time, advertisements for that game, it was $94.99 in Canada. Like, it was really hard to get, and stores were just charging, like, more than the suggested retail price. But, yeah, so basically, like, $100 plus tax.
Also, you got to show this. I mean, this is
the red label.
The red label Canadian variant.
Yeah, and so none of these are my actual childhood copies, but I just kept that.
But these, and you don't even see these too often, because most people that purchased this game or got it as a gift for Christmas got the American version. Right?
Sure.
For some reason they got the red look. I don't know.
Well, that was the one that it was only in Canada. I think it was a challenge set that came with Mario 3, and then they printed more of them with that.
But those have like the diagonal across
on the box, but on the cartridge it's got the red.
That's right.
I'm sure someone will tell me how wrong I am. So, but
that's how you learn. That's how you learn.
Exactly.
Someone tells you how wrong you are.
Yeah. So, Christmas 1990 was like the best Christmas ever. I know my parents filmed me opening Mario 3 because I remember.
Oh yeah.
I remember specifically saying to my stepmom, "Oh, I've got 8 games now," and I don't remember what the other games I had before the 4 I got were. I'm assuming Mario Duck Hunt. I don't know what the other 3 were. I have no.
Dude, that's awesome.
I have no clue.
You gotta get that footage.
Yeah, I know. I gotta find it.
We'll post it if you can find it.
Yeah, and then I got the other thing I got that was cool was it was like this Ninja Turtles like tent playset. So it was like it came with like these like plastic things. You clicked them together and then you threw the tarp over it. It was Ninja Turtles, and it came with like a matching sleeping bag. I would love to find that sleeping bag again. That'd be so sick.
I'd love to just like watch myself as a kid again. Just be like, oh my god, that's amazing.
That's why I'm so jealous of that My Retro Life guy that has all that footage that his dad filmed. That's so sick.
It's sick, but it's like, what?
Yeah, like who
did you have foresight?
No, but my parents had one of those like it was one of those like Sony or JVC camcorders that took the VHS tapes.
Yeah, but I've got VHS tapes from like joint Christmases with my uncles, and they had one.
Yeah, they weren't filming you playing your video games.
No, but they weren't like, oh look, the child's playing. Let's they could care less, right?
Yeah. So that I like the rest of the stuff isn't gonna come close to that Christmas. Like I just remember, and time passes more slowly when you're a kid too. So to wait you're picking out your stuff, and it's like an eternity.
Waiting from like the 22nd of December till the 25th. Just that was like. Yeah. Can we get there already? And then you'd wake up at like 5 a.m. on Christmas Day, and of course I was so sleepy. Yeah. And they'd be like, "Go away, go open your stocking," right? Yeah. And, oh man, good times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm older than Joe, as we always like to point out.
You were like 20 in 1990. So.
yeah, totally. I look great. So here, this is what I got. Okay, so my like first Christmas video game experience was this behemoth right here.
Nice.
The Power Set, and my dad got this for us, totally out of left field. I had no idea this was coming, and I looked it up. It says 1998, which is weird because I would have been 9 years old. Sorry, 1980.
Yeah.
Whoops.
You are old now.
I am old. No. It says 1988.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like it was 87, but whatever. Let's say it's 88. So I'm 9 years old at that time.
Yeah, I'm guessing all my years too, based on when the games came out. So.
Well, it says the release date is in the States. I wonder if it came out in Canada before. I'm just saying, it maybe did.
Could have.
It's also very surprising my dad would have purchased this set, because this would have been the most expensive one.
Oh, yeah, because it came with the power pad and the 3 games, right?
Yeah. And, like, we got this, and it was just, like, we all played it. Like, the family played it the same way that people would have played the Wii back in, like, was it 2006 it came out?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Sorry, anyway. So, like, we got this. My dad was really, like, he was really fit back then. And,
Did you race him?
Oh, yeah, we would race him. You know, and this is before we knew we could do this, right? Like, and we would race him, like, you know, then we'd do the long jump, and it was like, oh my God, so much fun, right? Like, yeah, so we used the power pad. It was like, awesome. It was a staple in our house. Obviously, the light gun. And then Mario was just, like, brilliant. And I remember, like, playing Mario and then going to school and, like, you know, kids are talking, right?
Oh, yeah.
Pre-internet times. And one of my buddies, like, he's like, yo, dude, if you beat Mario 1... Oh, sorry, this was actually later on. I should say this, okay? Well, I'll say the story anyway.
Yeah.
Because then a year or two later, Mario 2 comes out, right?
Yeah.
The unofficial one. Whatever. That's baloney. It's Mario 2. And it comes out. And he's like, yo, buddy. Or he's like, yo, dude, if you finish Mario 1 twice... then Mario 2 will come on your cart and you get to play that game.
Yeah.
And so as a kid, I was like, all right. And so...
Yeah, you're like, no one's going to buy me Mario 2. So.
And so like a year or two later, I'm in grade 5 at that point, and I'm like, I was sick and I was at home. I beat it twice, and Mario 2 didn't show up.
No.
Spoiler alert. So...
But, you must have had a buggy cartridge or something.
Yeah, I must have that. So anyway, Power Set was my big memory, and then, you know... I think... I don't remember if we got other games that year, but we got RC Pro-Am. Which was awesome. RC Pro-Am. just took that off Joe's shelf. Put that down here. And then I didn't get these ones until later on. So, actually, I guess I'll talk about those as well.
You might as well.
So I did get Mario 3 at some point, and I got Mario 2. I don't remember. Obviously, I got this one before this one. But if you tell, like,
apparently 2 was impossible to find when it came out too. Like, they couldn't keep up with
I had the game growing up, and like I absolutely loved it.
So Nintendo's always been doing that. Like, literally, like to this day, they like literally make just enough of their stuff. Like
they're still here. Like they're doing great. We're buying all their old stuff, right?
Yeah.
But these are not my original boxes. I picked these up over the years. But I mean, you know, to this day, this is still my favorite game because I can pick it up and play it, and I still love it.
Yeah.
The only knock on this game is there's no save cart, so I typically will play it on the Super Nintendo. But
I'm glad you pulled your boxes down. I have boxes for a lot of these games, but they're up there.
It's not the Left Bros, man.
No, it's not the rare one.
If it was the Left Bros, I could sell it for $10,000.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that was 88 and 90. So you should go to 91.
So what I think is Christmas 91. So if I remember correctly, the Super Nintendo came out in August of 91.
I thought it was 92.
I think it was 91. I can't remember. I remember though, so like this is where the years might be.
There's nowhere for us to research this.
Yeah.
So we have to go on our memories.
I thought it was 91, but we'll go with that for this. Because I remember it came out, the release date was like end of August. Look it up.
Yeah, I will. When was Super Nintendo released?
Well, and the thing is, you're going to get the American date.
You're right, yeah.
Yeah, so August, say that?
So
I'm right.
I was thinking Europe and Oceania. Obviously.
Oh yeah,
that was 92. Because I mean, I know the Oceania release dates for a lot of products.
That long for stuff.
Yeah. Also, Oceania. We should call it Australia.
So I know Super Nintendo came out after my birthday that year because my birthday is in August, and then that Christmas, I remember really wanting one. They were still hard to find. They were also very expensive.
Yeah.
And then the games were really expensive too. So I remember asking for it. My mom's kind of like, okay, like I can't find one. They're also like really expensive. And then I think she just thought this was probably like a more value, like better value for the money. And I ended up getting the original Game Boy with Tetris.
Nice. And
then I got 3 games with it. So I got Follow the Foot Clan, Ninja Turtles, Super Mario Land, obviously, and then I got Mega Man in Dr. Wily's Revenge, which, like, I actually need to finish that game. That game was so hard, but, like, super addictive. And then I looked up the release dates for these. So Ninja Turtles was August 1990. Super Mario Land was July 1989, so like when the Game Boy came out,
Mm-hmm.
that was like a launch game. Tetris came with it, obviously. The only question one is Mega Man. It says December 91, so I'm trying to think if I would have got a game that early. But again, I may have just picked it out of like a catalog, right? Because they would often advertise stuff that was going to be out.
Yeah.
And Game Boy games were cheaper, right? They were like $20-$30, even like in Canada, or like $29.99 or $39.99. So
sweet.
A lot more palatable than a Super Nintendo, and then all the games being like $70 or $80 when they came out. So, and I'm really happy that I got that because I played the ever-living crap out of it. The only thing is like every other kid begging your parents for batteries and like asking them to turn the light on like when they're driving.
Batteries
turn the light on, or like at the traffic light, I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna like
turn the light
sneak in a level. Yeah, like which is so distracting. Like I would never do that.
It's true, huh? You know what? But that's where you started, right, with the Game Boy. And how many people want the Game Boy now? It's unreal. Everyone wants a Game Boy. Everyone wants it.
So I got that, and then I'm pretty sure it was this Christmas too. My grandparents got me Battletoads. So again, really cool to get a game from the grandparents because I didn't always get expensive stuff that I really wanted from them, right?
Yeah.
Like grandparents are notorious for getting you like socks.
Can you imagine buying
like,
that back in the day? Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it was probably like $70 or $80, right? So that was a pretty sick Christmas too.
Battletoads.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, because the thing is, my neighbors at my dad's place would always talk about that game and always rent it, so I did play it there. And I remember asking for it. So
nice.
So
nice, buddy.
Got spoiled again.
You know what's funny? I'll just do a little pause on the Christmas stuff for a bit. But I love Christmas. I'm not pausing it for that reason. But Joe and I were talking about this video beforehand, and I said like most of my games I got outside of Christmas, right? And I remember I was sharing the memory with you how our house was robbed.
Oh
in
yeah.
Like the early '90s, and like our like 4 or 5 Nintendo games, that's all we had, were stolen. And then I remember my dad like through the insurance company was like, oh, we have 8 Nintendo games. And it was like the greatest day of my life. We went to Toys R Us.
You know what it was? He meant to put a 3 and then it looked like an 8. Yeah. And so they were
my dad's an accountant.
8 games. Yeah.
So my dad's an accountant.
So he has messy handwriting.
No, as we know, accountants don't have good handwriting.
Yeah. So that's what happened.
Joe, what do you do for a living?
An accountant.
Anyway, so I got 8 games, and I remember we went to Toys R Us, and we just looking at it's so good. So but here I bought.
Do you remember all 8 that you?
No,
bought?
I don't. I remember uninvited. I got
Imagine
uninvited.
finding that receipt.
Oh my god, it would be great.
Uninvited is such a random.
Yeah, I think we got the Mario 3 and 2.
You got those back,
and the Mario Duck Hunt back because I wanted those.
Yeah.
But I remember getting uninvited, which was surprising that my dad would let me get that because it's a pretty terrifying cover for like a kid.
Yeah.
And then I got the Quattro Sports.
You're like, this is 4 games. I'll show them.
And it was so bad. But I played the dirt bike level. And I tried to beat it, and it was not me. It was the game. So I remember Quattro Sports and Uninvited, 2 games that and Uninvited was like kind of weird. Like it's a car. You start off with a car crash,
okay,
and you show up. You're at a mansion, and it's like a point and click one, right?
Yeah.
And like
So were you disappointed that it was a point and click game? Like, did you even know that's what you were?
You know what's funny? Like, I don't know about you, but like when I used to rent games as a kid or I got games, I was never disappointed. No, I was never disappointed. I'm just like, all right, this is the game I gotta play.
Well, yeah.
Because I'm like, this is all I have.
Yeah, the alternative is to do
There's nothing else. I can't go on YouTube and research.
Yeah.
And the alternative is to go outside and play in the sunshine, and I don't want to do that.
No, God no.
I'm like, I gotta play the game, right? And it was a point and click, and it was good, but I got to a point where I couldn't get any further in the game.
Yeah.
But you're trying to rescue your sister. You're driving with your sister, and like you wake up and you're like unconscious, and then your sister's like,
spoilers,
stolen. So anyway. Never beat it. I should go back. Do you own that still? Because I got rid of my copy.
I think I got rid of it.
Right.
Oh, I thought I got rid of it.
Uninvited. Like
there we go.
Look at the cover. Look at the cover for that. Like, it's terrifying. So it looks almost like the Ghostbusters, like the opening scene of Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Where the ghost is there.
It's looks like an old lady skeleton.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, you and I should do a let's play of that.
We should.
And then
we'll play Sonic 2.
Something better. Yeah. Sonic 2. Okay, so. Yeah, I don't even think I talked about Christmas there. Back to Christmas.
No, but that would be like Christmas. Like,
yeah.
If you get to go pick out 8 games. Like,
oh my god, it was so good. And people get really nostalgic about Toys R Us.
I wish you guys had the receipt from that. So
I
you
know
knew what you got.
We sometimes get games for the store, and like there's like receipts in there. And I always leave them. I always leave them because like I kind of hope the person who purchases it is like, that's awesome.
Or the old rental labels, like this game came from
rental
Illinois. Like it's
I love the rental labels. I don't peel those off. I think they're so cool.
No, I like leaving them on, and then I let whoever buys it decide if they want to take it off. So I'll probably be more careful too. But
totally.
Okay.
So you have 1992. I think I have some stuff. I'll do 94, so you should do 92.
Okay, so I'm guessing that this is 92, again, based on the release dates of the games. Also, the release date of one of them doesn't make sense. And the Wikipedia page, I love how it's like, this is the date, and then it's like citation needed, or like basically like there's no proof. Because release dates then were so willy-nilly too, especially like depending on where.
Yeah.
So again, like being in Canada, we would always, like you could find stuff in the United States earlier. Christmas of 92, and the funny thing is, I wanted both of these games. One of them I rented all the time. The other one my stepbrother had, so I wanted. And then I remember there was actually an ad in the newspaper back in the day when you'd read the newspaper.
Why are you quoting newspaper?
Yeah.
It was a newspaper.
Back in the day. I think it was like the Penny Saver though, or something like
the local.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And I remember like it was Microplay, because Microplay existed back then.
That's where you bought everything from.
Both of these games were in the ad. And that was specifically the two. They were like, we're Microplay, but then like they literally had like an ad for those two games and how much they were. And they were... So first one that I rented all the time, Final Fantasy II, or now known as Final Fantasy IV. When I bought this, I had no idea the Japanese 2 and 3 existed, so... This was Final Fantasy II.
Why do people have to even say this? Why can't we just be like, it was Final Fantasy II?
Well, because it's actually Final Fantasy IV.
But you live in North America. You're not.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, you're not Japanese.
No, I sure aren't.
That's a pet peeve of mine, is when like people have to say, well, this is this, but it's like Mario 2 isn't Mario 2. It's actually Doki Doki Panic. Like, enough.
The most confusing thing though is like in Europe they didn't get any of these, and then they got Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, so there's no back.
And they was just like, well, what happened to 1 to 6?
Let's go back in time and
So anyway, I got this game. I used to rent it all the time. This basically is why I have all these RPGs. Like a lot of my PlayStation 2 games over there are RPG games. Maybe we'll do a collection tour.
What's an RPG?
A role-playing game.
Ooh, role-playing game show.
You know
That's
your
good.
role and you play it well.
I as a video game store owner, I have no idea
so
what that is.
So that game I rented a lot, really wanted it, and I think that game, like those games were really expensive because they usually came on larger cards. So I think it was probably like $80 or something like that. And then NHL PA Hockey 93. And again,
I'm gonna borrow that actually. Just
played
put that in my time.
played that a lot with my stepbrother, and then really wanted it. The crappy thing was, and so the release date says December 1992, but they would typically release the hockey games like in the summer, like before the season started. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure it was Christmas 92 that I was able to get that. It was like a newer release. Final Fantasy was November 91, so that had been out for a while. But yeah, really, really pumped to get those two games. And I remember the crappy thing though was like, the Senators and what was the other team that came in with Ottawa? Was it Tampa Bay? Yeah, so they were both in the game, but it was like their expansion draft players, and they were terrible. So
Brad Marsh.
Yeah, so I was still like, I still had the remnant of being like a Habs fan, the Montreal Canadiens, and they were like,
you can
really
be forgiven
that
for
game.
That. That's okay.
So you had like Kirk Muller and like Patrick Waugh before he defected to Colorado. Yeah. So Montreal was good in that game, so that was my go-to. Montreal and Vancouver, Pavel Bure. I would edit the lines because Bure was on the second line for some reason. Yeah. And I put Bure on the first. Or no, you couldn't edit lines in the Super Nintendo one, but you could decide to play with just the first line or all the lines.
Yes.
And I would play with all the lines so I could use Bure.
Yeah.
So.
Nice.
That was Christmas 92.
So I think mine is like 92, 93. I mean, I'll just go next.
Yeah, you're guessing. So, that's okay.
Well, here's the thing, okay? Because like I'm fairly certain this was the game I also got, but I brought 94 because I don't own this game in a box. So, and I wanted to bring this.
Oh, but
they're actually different. Like 94 is
that would have came out for Christmas 93 though, I think.
Yeah, and I'm just fuzzy on this, okay? Yeah. I kind of think it was this one, I remember the blue ice surface, which just like blew my mind. And when you're going from like Blades of Steel and ice hockey to this, you're just like, this was crack. I remember getting this, just playing the hell out of it.
Well, it's got the music and then it shows the players and they skate in, do their thing.
They have stats and you're just like, you feel like you're playing real hockey. So, I mean, this is the one I think I got. So I'm glad you had that out. But this is the one that I play to this day. Yeah, I play this with my buddy Derek. We play hockey, like, real hockey every week. And our games are
play fake hockey.
Not that fake hockey. Oh, you kids and your fake hockey. No, this is we play like ice hockey every week at 10 o'clock at night. Games are super late, so he comes over to my house. We play a few games at NHL 94, and then we go play hockey. So it gets us jazzed for the
game.
Yeah. Right? So nice. I got this one Christmas, and then I also got this. I got Uniracers.
Oh, sick.
And the music to this game is just like, if you don't know Uniracers, you're a unicycle racing through tracks, and it's a lot of fun. It's a super amount of fun, but the music's really good. And I've used the music in our videos.
Yeah.
Because it's all rock and roll, right? Or not even rock and roll. It's like
it's quick though.
It's quick. It's like, anyway, it's so good. So I have one more. I'll just mention it now.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think it was the same Christmas, but Contra 3. Alien Wars.
Awesome.
And man, this game is like, just great. And I beat it on like the super hard mode as a kid because I had all the time in the world. Yes.
I've beaten it on normal, so I technically haven't beaten it.
No, you haven't.
Because there's like an extra guy to fight after, I think.
The end boss is just it's insane. But I mean, I remember I just loved this game so much growing up. Beat it on super hard. Tried to beat it as an adult on the extra hard mode, whatever it was, and I couldn't do it.
You're like, I don't have time for that.
I don't have time.
I gotta go play hockey.
So yeah, I gotta go play hockey. So anyway, those are my Christmas games there for 93, 92. Yeah.
Awesome.
What do you got? What do you got left there?
So what I have left. So I've got, I believe this. So I'm gonna say it was 93 or 94. Again, everyone remembers the console wars. That's like another video for us. So
Joe just can't stop talking about the console wars.
I was a Nintendo kid, and then when Mortal Kombat was coming out, I learned that only the Genesis version would have the blood in it, and the Super Nintendo one they put like sweat in it.
They flip tables and get angry about it.
Yeah, they changed all the fatalities. And actually, I remember I remember them talking about it on the news, and my mom was watching it, and then I remember they were showing it was like Raiden fighting Sonya. And I was like, get her, Raiden, get her. And I'm like yelling at the TV, and my mom's like, see, that's why you shouldn't have this game. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I gotta play it cool, or I'm not gonna get this for Christmas. So anyway, I remember I actually talked to my parents about trading in my Super Nintendo to a store and getting a Genesis. And I'm glad they didn't let me do that because I had some good games and I still played them after this. But so for the Christmas, so I think it was 93 or 94, I can't remember. But they had a Genesis bundle where it was the system and it came with Sonic 2 and Echo the Dolphin. So I got that system. And
you have a note here about Echo.
And Echo sucks. Yeah, it says my note is played lots of Sonic 2, Echo suck. Now the thing is, so this is what came with it. So I had Echo the Dolphin.
Was that bundled in with it?
Yeah, so you got two.
Okay, yeah.
And this was a fairly newer game instead of Sonic 2, right? But they were aggressively going after Nintendo. So sorry. That was a Christmas bundle, so basically it was only for Christmas time.
It is a good bundle.
And then we got Sonic 2.
Okay, and I mean, did Echo really suck, or was it just you were used to playing platformers and you're like, I want to do something?
No, it's pretty bad. The graphics are cool, the concept is cool. It's just not, especially when you're younger. It's not a friendly game. But all of the magazines reviewed it well and talked about how good it was. So I was like, I'm getting two amazing games.
Because it's like a puzzle game essentially.
Yeah, basically. It's also kind of scary when you're a kid too. You're this dolphin and you're under the water and it gets dark and you're getting attacked and stuff. It's kind of dark.
But you had Predator, so I mean you were used to those.
Yeah, but those graphics were actually a little realistic.
Yeah.
Predator, Arnold's wearing a pink jumpsuit. It's kind of comical. But yeah, so I got that bundle, played the crap out of Sonic 2, and then I remember my stepdad got me Mortal Kombat. So boom. There it is.
Nice.
That's the only one I own for the Genesis, because then for 2 and 3, they put the blood in the Super Nintendo version, and the graphics were just better.
Yeah.
It wasn't the best port, but I played the crap out of that. Like, the blood code was...
With a 3-button controller, and the start button was block, I think? Like,
ABACABB was the blood code. I still remember that.
There you go.
But, I had no strategy in that game, though. I didn't block. I just, like,
just went at it.
Yeah, I wasn't, like, very good at it, but it was just, like, fun to play, so...
My buddy had that game, and, like, I would go to his house, and...
Yeah.
You knew somebody who had it, but you were the kid that had it.
I was the kid that had it.
You were the kid.
Yeah. So I had a Super Nintendo and a Sega Genesis at the same time.
Oh my god.
Wow.
You're so rich.
Yeah, because in between those Christmases, I ended up getting a Super Nintendo for my birthday one year. So
I always had to trade in my system for the next one, so I traded in my NES to get a Super. Although I kept my Super and I bought it. Yeah, anyway.
Well, I'm pretty sure my parents did the research and then found out what I was being offered for the Super Nintendo, and they were like, "Yeah, no, that's a ripoff." Like. But again, that's the typical...
Oh, you got such terrible trade-in value back then.
But that's the typical mentality, though. Like, oh, I paid a lot of money for this. Like my mom or dad probably thought they could trade the Super Nintendo for a Genesis straight up. Like, that's how it worked, right? But, like obviously that's not how it's going to work, so...
Come to our store. We'll trade you a Super Nintendo for a Genesis straight up any day.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Now, for sure, yeah.
No, we would give you a lot more.
My, how things have changed.
You had 95. I think you should talk about that.
I've got one more. So Christmas 95. Stepbrother had this game before me. He was a few years older. Like, always seemed to like get stuff, and then he got a job first. So, Final Fantasy 3. Boom, right here.
Yeah.
And this game, it's actually 6.
I'm just joking.
But and the crazy thing is, so part 2 was part 4. You need like a spreadsheet to track them all. Then part 5 was Japan only. So when 3 came out, like the graphic jump and like just the gameplay was insane. Like I remember showing up because I would go back and forth between my mom and my dad's, and my stepbrother was like at my mom and stepdad's all the time. And I remember him telling me about it and me showing up and going from Final Fantasy 2 to Final Fantasy 3, like it was just insane. Like the music, the graphics, everything was just crazier. And then of course I wanted it, and then I'm pretty sure that game was like $100 plus tax.
Probably.
And I remember the night before Christmas.
It had a battery in it.
Yeah, so that upped the price.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember the night before Christmas, I had to know if I was getting it. Like my mom literally just wrapped it. It was the shape of a Super Nintendo game, and so like
I love those days.
Like I literally went down and like cut like a little thing under the bow to see like what game it was, because I was such a shit. So I knew I was getting it. I was still pumped, and then like I finished it a few months later. But because like back in the day, you'd rent an RPG and then return it to the store, and you'd have to hope that like no one saved over your game. So like I was actually like able to get it and finish it. So
nice. All right, guys. So I have one more memory for Christmas, and this is something that I purchased for myself on Christmas Day. I used to work at Blockbuster, and I purchased my very own PS1 for my Blockbuster on Blockbuster Day. And this is back when they were all $200, even in Canada. And I worked at Blockbuster, and working at Blockbuster had its perks. And one of the perks was on Christmas Day, you saved the tax. So I saved like $30.
So were they open?
We were open that day.
Wow.
And it was weird. So I worked Christmas Day for the first time and only time in my entire life. And I wasn't happy that I had to work that day, but whatever. I was scheduled. Money. Yeah, whatever. And I was staying in town anyway, so it was fine. But I bought a PS1, and then my girlfriend at the time bought me the Bond game. Which one was it? Tomorrow Never Dies.
Okay.
And like, sweet. I loved the 007, I love GoldenEye, obviously. And then I got that game, and it's not GoldenEye.
No.
Not even close. It's more third person. It's more like what's that game for the N64? Oh, the Gemini game. What's the Gemini?
Oh, Jet Force Gemini.
It's like Jet Force Gemini.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that good. But I had to like pretend I really liked it because I'm like, girlfriend buys it for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I got this on Christmas Day from Blockbuster back in like 97, 98, something like that.
Nice.
So
nice.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
One memory of getting something recently. So back when I was in my heyday of collecting for the NES and I was going for a complete set, I remember like my mom obviously she buy me Christmas gifts every year, and she's like, "What do you want?" And I'm like, "I want some games." I saw them at your local game store where she lived when I was there in the summer, and I gave her a list of games, thinking nothing, thinking she's not going to go to the store and buy me old games.
You were that guy that was like, "Yeah, Mom, I want Flintstones and Little Samson."
Yeah, like, "Mom, can you buy me this $1,000 game, please?"
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been a good investment at the time.
Yeah,
probably
exactly.
was only like $400.
Yeah.
So, because my mom would always get me anything I ever wanted, and so I thought nothing of it. Anyway, she ended up buying me Toxic Crusaders for the NES. Right, a very rare cart.
Yeah, it's hard to
not
find.
Crazy expensive compared to other games, but super rare. And so she brought me that game, and I was like really happy to get it because I it was one of those rare ones.
You put it on the shelf and didn't play it.
I looked at it and then I put it on the shelf.
It's not very good. I know that.
Yeah, so
I got rid of it when I called mine.
So that's a more recent memory, and that was probably like 8 years ago.
Yeah,
it was a while ago.
Yeah,
I have since sold it when I culled my collection, but at the time I was really happy to get it.
Yeah, so same kind of timeline for mine. So again, I was full setting as well, and my wife grabbed me Scat, and I feel bad. She probably just hit a buy it now on eBay and didn't check like what the actual value of the game was. So she would go to like our store before we owned it. So she'd go to Peter's store and buy me some.
Again, that's a rare game. You don't see it that often.
Yeah. So because he didn't have it. So she bought it.
I bought my copy of Scat from Peter actually.
Yeah. So yeah, you bought. I
bought it the week before.
And then she
way before I even knew you.
Yeah. So there's that, and then the cart's back there somewhere. But my dad bought me Ninja Warriors when it was like a $100 game because he knew I was collecting and I had a list of stuff. So,
such a good game.
So that was pretty cool.
Nice, cool.
So yeah, overall very spoiled throughout the years. So can't complain.
It makes for some good Christmas memories. So
for sure.
Yeah. So thanks for watching, guys. We hope you enjoyed your Christmas memories. Let us know what are some of your favorite Christmas memories. Leave a comment down below.
Yeah, or did you commit insurance fraud and get lots of stuff?
Or let us know about your examples of fraud and how you acquired more games for your collection.
Awesome.
All right, take care.
Cheers, guys.
Bye. Hey, Merry Christmas.
Cheers, face.
No, Merry Christmas.
Okay.
Hey. All right, hey.